were telling me something really interesting, Bill, about slip and falls. And what is that? So with a lot of rain coming in, it can move into stores and businesses. Yeah. And I've had even rain move into my house underneath the door sometimes. Absolutely.
You know, I think the main thing to remember is, number one, serious injuries can occur from slip and falls. A lot of times people think, you know, I slipped and fell. And, you know, 99 times out of 100, if you slip and fall, I've done it. We've all done it. And usually, you know, you were able to catch yourself just right. And, you know, you might have some scrapes and bumps and bruises, but it's a lot of times it doesn't cause traumatic injuries. However, we've had many cases where, you know, broken femurs, shattered hips, brain injuries, and even death in some of our cases when it comes to slip and falls. But the main thing to remember is that, you know, just because you have and you'll look at the bottom there, it says not an automatic lawsuit. And that's very important to remember, because if the store owner is not negligent in any way, shape, or form, you know, if you just go in there and you know, trip over your own 2 feet, or you slip on something that another customer may have spilt, then the store is not necessarily going to be held responsible. If the store did not do anything wrong, then you're not going to have a claim. And again, most people, they come into my office and they say, well, you know, I had a really bad injury, you know, I broke my leg or shattered my shoulder or whatever, and I was in that store, so therefore they have to pay for my medical bills. No, they don't. You have to show that they did something wrong, and you have to show that the store either A, knew about the problem and didn't do anything about it. Like there was a puddle of water in the aisle and they knew that it was there and they just neglected to get it up.
But what if they had a sign with that puddle? Are they still responsible? Typically
signs, if there are adequate warning signs, then that is going to relieve the property owner from liability, but that's not a foolproof measure. In other words, you can't just leave. Let's say there's a puddle of water in the middle of the floor, and they put a wet floor sign out, and then they just leave it, and the effectiveness of that warning sign goes away. There's some stores that are famous, especially in the garden center, to leaving out these cones 24 hours a day, you know, all year long, and that loses the effectiveness of that.
Right.
And so, and also, sometimes they just put a wet floor sign up, but it's not in the right area. And so when someone comes in, they may not be alerted. So just, you know, if you ever have a slip and fall, number one, do not speak to the adjuster, because they're trained to be able to ask you questions that's going to harm your case. Speak to somebody who handles this kind of work.